This is a story about weather. We've had a lot of that lately. It's a different kind of weather, though, that is involved in my story. It's colder. It's a cautionary tale. This took place when I had just turned 18 years old. I was of majority. And it's about coming home to Manitou. Weather in Manitou. Wow. Mind blown. No. So I was living up in Aspen. I thought I could do something up in there, to have fun, to make my life, to do something, and ended up stacked up like cordwood in an apartment with 8 other people, trying to pay for the apartment. I decided it wasn't for me, and in the process of trying to get the hell out of Dodge, I bought my first car, which was the first car I had bought myself, which was a VW van. And I was going to drive it to my mother's house back home to Manitou. I just had my birthday, so it was April. And as is the wont up in that neck of the woods, sometimes it snows. And I didn't quite have the money to put the gas in the tank where I had all of my possessions at the time was just some boxes and some plants and my preciousnesses. So I had to get some money. So I went to Rifle, Colorado. Just for a piece down the road from Aspen, right after you pass El Jebel. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And the way I did that in Rifle, Colorado, to raise money, was to hustle some foosball. Don't y'all act like you haven't done that before, all right? No, I was quite the foozer in the day. In fact, people used to call me Fast Sallie. It's true. Mom was a little upset about that. I explained why that was, and she was, much relieved to find out why I was called Fast Sallie. But so I hustled up, $10, $15, which, hello, back in the day, this was a long time ago. I just turned 18. I'm 57 years old. Wow, was gas cheap. And that was enough money to get back home to Manitou. It should have been, but that's later in the story. So while I was in there, madly hustling foosball, working up a sweat over a hot foosball table, it was snowing outside, which I did not know. Came out, and there was a fresh virgin layer of snow laying upon the ground and upon the VW bus with my plants inside. Oh, I need to tell you about this bus. It had been an accident. And the old VW buses, they had the flat front on them. This was more than usual flat. On the driver's side, where the door had been forced out of its nice nesting place in the door frame into a more angular position. So that when one drove in this van, one could actually gauge how fast one was going by looking down through the hole provided and seeing how fast the pavement was going by. It was a good visual for that. On a summer day, but this was a white-out blizzard. No one knew. It's like a, freak, right? Storm. I filled the tank with gas. I got in and I said, here we go. Up the winding mountain roads, some with, some without guardrails. Doesn't matter because it's virgin snow. And I couldn't see where the road was or wasn't. And because of the, shall we say, large mass of snow falling in front. Through the air, you couldn't see where the ground was or wasn't. So it was quite a challenge, actually, to make a path in a vehicle through this. I laid fresh tracks. And it was cold, and it was coming up through the hole in the by the door. I did stop once to move all of the plants to the back of the van, thinking, well, they're not going to live through that. This'll be better. Has anyone here ever been in a VW van in the cold? Have you ever ridden in the back in a VW van in the cold? Okay, I'm sorry about the plants. Plants were harmed in the making of this story, actually, so that was bad. So, through the night, here I drove with the whiteout, of course, with the headlights making it seem like it was personal. God just wanted to blind me, wanted me to run off the damn road. But I went slowly. Well, I had to. I went in first gear the whole way, and you're on an incline, that's what you're doing in a VW bus. Anyway, and then on the decline, of course, I was going in first gear just to avoid having to use the brakes. Brake. It had been an accident. Okay, we already went through that. So it was kind of harrowing, and I was pressed up against the windshield the whole time. And over this, they had the bus driver angle of the wheel. So I was leaning over, goose-necked, with my face against the glass, thinking if I just peer harder, I'll see better. Oh, that was a good turn. There you go. And I made it up through the pass, over the top, coming down, headed for home and Manitou. In fact, you know how Colorado is. You can have this crazy, crazy whiteout blizzard storm, and then, it's not there anymore, which is way cool for me at the time. I was thinking, this is way cool. Oh, I didn't look. Does the gas gauge really work, or has it always been on E? It hadn't always been on E. Luckily, the time about that it hit E for excellent, there was a gas station. Of course, it was closed. It was 5 in the morning, 5:36 in the morning, something like that. Just before, I'm sure, their sleepy heads got up and said, let's get those pumps going. So I pulled over. Luckily, I wasn't stuck in the middle of nowhere. I said, oh, just wait until someone's manning the pumps. Oh, yes, it was that long ago. People manned the pumps, or womaned them, or whatever. But there were people at the pumps besides you. And so I dozed a bit. With, by the way, my accelerator foot, which grew a ball of a rock-hard ball bearing the size of a ping-pong ball that stayed with me for about a year after that, from pressing constantly in the cold, with the cold air rushing through I just had to say, it was not good for me for about a year. That's why I walk funny now. That and other things. But anyway, trying to rest with my aches and pains and praying for the plants. And the people got up, they manned the pumps, I got the gas. Thank goodness, the sun had risen. There was no trace of snow. There was no snowing going on. There was just me and a nice, beautiful Colorado day, heading home to Manitou. Wow! This is what it's all about, getting to the other side of the story. So I was going downhill in a VW bus, feeling pretty good, going pretty fast, because I could. And I was really happy about that. And a policeman didn't like that so much. Yeah, I know. Stopped me and said, well, suppose you're wondering why I pulled you over. And I said, no. I know. I was going 15 miles over the speed limit. He said, yes. May I see your papers, please? And I showed him my license and my registration for the new car new to me, that I had bought. He said, well, this registration doesn't seem to agree with the license plate information. Yes, I was told that I could, that I had a grace period where I could go and I could get license plates and then I could do the thing and everything, and I'm just on my way home to Manitou. And I was, by the way, stopped midway Ute Pass, after where now the wine and hamburger places. I'm there. I had to coast another couple of feet. I was home. They gave me a ride downtown, and this is back in the day when the jail, the county jail, was underneath the what is now the DMV and the courthouses and all of that. It was the old rock walls, dug out by slaves, prisoners, terrible, awful, yay. And I just turned 18. So they had to intake me, which was wonderful. They had the matrons there, because they don't want that sexual harassment going on there. And the matrons, went through all my stuff. I'm an inveterate smoker. I don't know if y'all might have, if you didn't notice, you might have smelled it on me. I sweat it. Was then too. Went through all my cigarettes. Took my matches from me because those are dangerous. Gave me my cigarettes back. Said, what's that ring on your finger? I said, well, that's a white gold ring that my grandmother wore. My mother gave it to me to wear, and take it off. Okay. Wow. I've been wearing this since I was 14. Didn't even think about that. Must have grown a little bit. It's not coming off. Oh, it's really not coming off. We're going to have to saw it off your finger. What? Well, you go in there with some reprobates, inmates, convicts. They will cut your finger off, get that ring. I said, I can't get the ring off. They will cut your finger off. Well, that would be bad. So you're going to cut the ring off to save my finger. Thank you. So needless to say, I spit on it. I asked for a little lotion. All right, but just one dollop. I finally got it off. Thank you. I never got it back on again, so whatever, I probably hawked it later, I don't know. And they give you your pillow and a toothbrush and something else, no shiv. Just a blanket. What they laughingly call a blanket. And they go, here you go. And there I was in cell block C, deep underground in the middle of Colorado Springs. My first experience with being interred. Interred? Isn't that being buried also? I don't know. Being in the slammer. Locked up. That's right. And, the jail is set up in such a way that it's a main room, and then they have the cells that are 4 bunks to a cell, and then, when you go nighty-night, they like to call it nighty-night there. And you go nighty-night, you go 4 to a bunk. But otherwise, it's general pop. Gen pop, as we like to call it. And matron pushed me on in there and said, okay, find yourself a bunk. That's how casual it was back in the day. And all the people, of course, who are already in there look up, because what's the most exciting thing since breakfast? Me. New fish, I think they call it. And so people will come up, flock around you, go, what's your name? What are you in for? General data gathering stuff. It was a lot like Alice's restaurant. Improper registration. Because I said to the cop the whole way down, I said, are you sure that you have to, like, the handcuffs, the whole thing, the right, improper registration? Yes, ma'am, that's what it's called. You could be trying to steal that van for all we know. I said, did you see the van? Anyway, so it was a little Alice's restaurant like that. This one lady walked up to me. She was, and I was a little shorter than I am now. What? Yeah, I got a little height after that, but I was an early bloomer. And she was way taller than me, though. A big blonde lady, and she was also big. You know, she was like the people you see who like to do the wrestling thing. Yeah, I like that. And she eyed me up and down. And she said, what are you in for? She seemed to have some kind of an accent, you know. I said, improper registration. Huh, she said. And then she walked back over and sat down where they were playing cards. Because that's what you do, is you play cards in jail. I learned how to play euchre, a fine game. Shouldn't have the reputation it has. I found out later that nice lady who asked me what I was in for, who was so curious about my offense, was in there for murdering her 7-month-old baby by flinging it repeatedly against a radiator. She wasn't happy the whole time I saw her, and I don't blame her. But I think it might have preceded her action. Her unhappiness might have preceded that. And I was like, just walking around an innocent without my ring of protection or nothing. I still had my cigarettes, which was cool. I was going, damn, I could use a smoke. How do I light it? Oh, damn you, the man. You had to ask a matron for a match, and they would stand outside the bars, and they would strike the match for you and make sure you lit the cigarette, and they blow out the match and show you it wasn't going to do no harm to nobody. And they'd go off. You had to call for them every time, too, so you felt uncomfortable unless you chain smoked. Just lit one off the other. But cigarettes were quite the commodity back in a smoking jail, which none of them are now, but so I was kind of popular, you know. Oh, let me teach you how to play euchre. Come on over here. So we did a lot of that. I made some friends. There was one lady, I really liked her. She was crazy. Her name was Rosemary. She was a skinny black chick with kind of the pickaninny things, you know, just the radiating sunburst thing coming out all over her hair is how she had her hair. And she was just lively, and she was friendly. And she'd take me around. She'd go, oh, Sallie. You're Sallie. Okay. She'd take me around. She'd go, well, this is Bernice. Yeah, Bernice did some check forgery. Okay. Yes. And she'd come on. This is, you know, and she was the social, the social organizer of Cell Block C. And she took me under her wing, and she was very friendly. I liked her so much. She was so nice. And I found out that she was going to be my cellie. You know, when we picked out a bed, Dad had picked out a bed, and it was like, oh, we're going to be cellies, yay. That's so nice. You protect me from that big blonde woman. I'd tear a new one, she said. So I felt like this was going to be all right. I was going to live through this and learn how to register a car. So when nighttime came, when it's time for nighty nights, we went into our cells, and there was Rosemary, and I'm sorry, I cannot remember the name of my other two cellies. They were quite pleasant, I'm sure, but they just don't stand out. Rosemary was, you know, a character and whatnot. The one thing I do remember is that one of the other girls had, well, okay, here's the thing. When they went through my cigarettes, they missed the joint. Okay, I didn't mention that, but I can't get in trouble for that anymore, right? So I'd had a joint. I never did that before. Someone had given me that as a going-away present. To, hey, on your drive back. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to smoke some pot, whatever. So I'd stuck it in my Marlboros. But it was there, and I was like, hey, girls, I have a spliff. And they were like, ooh, we knew we liked you for some reason. And said, let's smoke that. Wait. First, here's what we got to do. One of the girls had some Cool cigarettes. Now, Cools are some heavy menthol cigarettes. And they took some toothpaste, mint toothpaste, and smeared it on the outside of the Cool cigarette and let it dry. Blew on it, let it dry. I'm like, okay. Wait for that to dry. Okay, now we light the joint, and we light the Cool cigarette. You take a hit from the joint. That's the joint. Then you have to take the Cool cigarette. Take a bunch of hits of that and blow it out. It's supposed to make the air minty fresh. Get it? It made me dizzy. The whole thing made me dizzy. And apparently this pot that I had was some bunk pot. I didn't get high off it, but they were going, yay, Sallie's in jail, yay. We love her. So I made some people have it that night. Mom wasn't happy, I know, because the call had gone out. Come get your daughter. You're like, really? Yeah, either that or she has to wait until her court date and la la la. She has to be in jail. I'll come get her. So I knew Mom was coming sometime soon. So we all went nighty-night. We pulling the sheets up going, God bless baby Jace. God bless John Walton. God bless. And a note came from the upper bunk down. Rosemary was dangling a little note. I said, my pal Rosemary, what's she got to say to me? I read it. It said, I really like you. Would you like to visit me? Now, I wanted to think that she meant visit her in jail, like when I got out. Except I already knew that they were coming to pick her up the next day to take her to Brady's, which was the state mental facility, the next day. So when I said she was crazy, I guess I was right. She was crazy. I guess she was incorrigible, what they call like criminally insane or something. Well, she was a criminal. She might have been having an off day. I don't know. I liked her. But she liked me. I said, damn it, Rosemary, you're a big old lesbian, aren't you? Can we just be friends? I said, thank you very much. I'm very flattered, but I don't go like that. She was like, all right, girl. It's all right. I ain't mad at you. So, crisis averted, right? Because I thought it was going to be some kind of, jailhouse thing. I guess that doesn't happen in the women's cell block quite as much as you think in the county jail. Anyway, so the next morning, so I had to do an overnight. Big traumatic thing for me, though. Mom comes. She wasn't happy about having to do that, but God bless her. She did. She said, so, how'd that whole buying the van, driving down, coming home to Manitou work out for you? I said, well, part of it was good. The part where the sun came up, and I was going really fast down the hill that one time. I ended up having to lose the van completely, I think, from the registration. I never did figure out how to do that right with that thing. There was something bollocksed about it, besides the door. But it got me through the weather, and it got me home to Manitou. And Mom got me home from the jail, from Colorado Springs, and said, come on now, Barbara, that's right. Whoop, whoop. That's how I felt at the time. I was like, please take me away from here. And she did. And she brought me home to Manitou, despite the weather. Thanks.